So in this quick tutorial, I'm going to show you how to update the default Quin mannequin in the new 5.6 templates from this character here to this character here from Mixamo. So I'm going to show you how to retarget the animations so that you can replace Manny or Quin in any of these templates using Mixamo characters. I'm going to go right over to Mixamo here, and I'm just going to download a character real quick. So I'm going to take this SWAT character, which I'm going to download, and it's going to be in the T-pose. And I'll make sure I save this somewhere where I know where it is. And I'm going to import it into the engine. So I'll just quickly create a new folder in here. Okay, so this is using the variant combat example. And I have a characters folder here, so I'm going to make a new folder, call it Mixamo. And in here, I'll keep Mixamo characters. So I'll make another new folder. I'm going to call this SWAT. And then I'm going to import to the current folder. So I'll show you how to properly import this as well. So I have a Mixamo folder. And in here, I have characters. I've got these SWAT characters. There's two different ones. So I'm going to grab the SWAT guy here. Now, when it imports, you want to make sure that it's including the materials and the textures. Make sure these are checked. And then I'm going to click import, and it'll create all the files that you need. It even comes with a physics asset, so we could technically ragdoll this character. So the next step is Mixamo characters do not come with a root bone. You need a root bone on your rig in order to retarget the animations properly. You should have a root bone on your rig anyways, but I'm going to go into the SWAT skeleton, and I'm going to expand this. So here you have options for SWAT skeleton, and there's this SWAT skeletal mesh. If I go to the skeletal mesh, you can see I already have this plugin enabled, but this is the skeleton editor. So if you don't have that enabled, you would have to go up to Edit Plugins, and if you search for Skell, you'll see Skeletal Mesh Editing Tools. This needs to be checked on. So if you're just checking it on now, you'll have to restart the engine. But going back to this, I already have it here. So I'm going to go to the Skeleton tab under Edit Bones. I'm going to edit the skeleton. I'm going to minimize the hierarchy for the hips here. And over here, I'm going to right click, make sure nothing's selected on the rig. And I want to right click here and add new bone. And you should be able to rename the bone. So I'm going to rename it to root. I'm going to collapse the hierarchy for the hips again. I'm going to drag this hierarchy into the root, and now it's linked to the root bone. So everything here is now parented back to the root bone. So we now have a root bone here. So the next thing is to click accept, and under merge type, you want to merge. And then I'll hit commit, and we now have a root bone. And if I was to rotate this, you'll see, we'll hit undo on that. We now have a root bone set up, so we can now properly retarget animations. So I'm going to hit save. I'm going to close this, open up the content drawer with Control and Spacebar, and I'm going to navigate back to content. We're going to go into the variant combat, and under anims, you'll see AVP Manny Combat. So we're going to right click on this. We're going to choose retarget animations. Once this window pops up, keep this open. You're going to go to target and change the skeletal mesh. So I want to find the SWAT character. And you'll see that he loads in here. And you can retarget all of these animations. So if you want to select just a few of them, you can select just a few of them, but I'll go ahead and do them all. So I'm going to hold shift and select everything in here. This is all the animations that are tied into these templates for Quin or Manny. So I'm going to click on export animations, and I'm going to choose a new folder. So in Mixamo under SWAT, I should actually make a new folder in here for animations. And then in here, if you want to give it a prefix, I'll call it SWAT underscore. You could also give it a suffix if you want that to be at the end. And I'm going to hit export. I'm not overwriting the files. We're copying them and making new files for the SWAT guy. So I'm going to click export. This will go through and retarget the animations. Okay, this window, if you hit the Windows key or open up your other windows here, you'll see this is still open. So if you wanted to, you could also export retarget assets. So this will export all of the rig information, IK targets and stuff like that. So if I hit export here, it'll just add IK auto retargeting. So now if you go in here, you can see these animations are all matched up to the character. And because we have the root bone, if we were to check all of these animations, you'll see that they all work properly. So I'm just going to jump right into it. I'm going to close this window. And we're going to find the character blueprint that's being used in this template, which is under variant combat blueprints. You've got BP combat character. Okay, so all the logic's already coded in here for this character to work for the example. You look at the viewport, you can see Quin. You click on the mesh, character mesh. You're just going to go over and change this to the SWAT character. Okay, so this is going to load it like this in the T-pose. That's normal. Now you're going to go to the animation mode section here under anim class, and you're going to look for in the dropdown, you should see ABP for SWAT. So if you look for SWAT, we've got SWAT ABP unarmed and SWAT ABP Manny combat. In this case, we want Manny combat, and this guy's ready to go. So from here, we can compile and we can save, and then we just have to update this in the game. So I'm going to move this tab over here, close this content browser. And what you're going to notice now is if you hit play, you'll see our guy is here, but as soon as we try to attack or anything like that, so the attacks are based on montages. Moving around is perfectly fine. We can move, no problem. If we try to attack, he does this T-pose because we have the wrong montage being called in the blueprint. So you need to go back to your character. We need to go to the event graph, and if you look for the attack section, you're going to see there's a charged attack and a combo, and both of these are using montages, so play montage, and you can see there's a variable set up for this. So we're going to go into the variables, and we're just going to look to see where these are. So under melee attack, you can see if you go through these, you'll find it under combo, and the combat attack montage is right here, and it hasn't been updated. It's using the AM combo attack. So I'm going to look for same thing, but with SWAT. So SWAT AM combo attack, and we're going to change that, update it, compile, save, and we're going to go looking for any other ones that are in here. So we know there's a charged attack. So I'm going to go through and find AM charged attack, but SWAT. That's why the prefix was important. So there's SWAT charged attack. You can see pistol fire montage. That's not being used in this template. Otherwise, we'd have to update that one as well somewhere, but it's not in here. So compile, save, hit play. Now, if we move, you can see we're punching. So we're doing all the combos, and we've got this SWAT guy now. Okay, so this template's bare bones outside of demonstrating the attack combos. So I don't have sprint or jump set up, but we retargeted the animations, so they should work. You can see there was an issue with the fall there, but basically anything that's not working, you can go looking for it and find out what's missing. Chances are it's just an animation that's not updated. Okay, so that's the charge attack. I'll just show you what I mean here. But if I fall off of here, oh, he died in there. That's interesting. And he ragdolled. So the ragdoll physics would also need to be set up better. So I'm not going to, oh yeah, when he lands, he does a weird T-pose. So we'd have to go in and fix that. But I'm not going to spend any more time on the tutorial fixing that stuff. That stuff you can now go in and investigate yourself. You can see there's issues with the death here. But otherwise, the retargeting portion works perfectly fine. Now it's just blueprint editing. So I'm going to end the tutorial there, and that demonstrates how to retarget the animations. From here, I would go through and edit anything I need to edit.